What's up? My name is Eric Butler. This channel is called Report and Opine. I am back, and from WION, which I've never heard of before, but they have nearly 7.5 million YouTube subscribers, so I guess they're doing something right, and they are reporting on this crazy story. It says, two held for operating secret Chinese police station in New York City. U.S. officials have arrested two men on allegations they operated a secret police station in the city on behalf of China. The two are charged with conspiring to act as agents for the Chinese government. And as a famous bartender once said, I am not the expert on geopolitics, so I do not have the first clue on how to fix this problem. It feels like it goes really deep, and there's probably a lot more to it than we know at this particular time. So let's see what these guys in the secret police station were up to in Manhattan.
Shifting our focus now, U.S. officials arrested two New York residents for allegedly helping establish a secret Chinese police station.
Okay, so the men were New York residents, so they are American citizens, apparently.
In Manhattan's Chinatown, part of a crackdown on Beijing's alleged targeting of U.S.-based dissidents. They face charges of conspiring to act as Chinese government agents without informing U.S. authorities and obstruction of justice. 61-year-old Lu Jiangwan and 59-year-old Chen Jinping were produced in a Brooklyn federal court on Monday. They were released on bond later. U.S. prosecutors said the accused set up a secret police station at the behest of Fuzhou branch of the Ministry of Public Security, China's National Police Force. The station was allegedly closed in the fall of 2022. Officials allege that this was the building that was being used by the accused as a secret.
And I think I shouldn't say all of us, but I've definitely seen that building before. It's always very weird when you can walk through New York City and see all of these weird buildings, all these skyscrapers, and you have no idea what's going on in there. And one of these buildings in Chinatown, in Manhattan, in one of these shots, you can actually see the Williamsburg Bridge, I believe, but they're operating a secret Chinese police station. I mean, it really gets no darker than this, right? First, we have supermarkets using facial recognition technology. Then we have the robot police dogs. Then we have the K9 units outside of CVS. I mean, the list goes on. And now on top of all that, there's a secret Chinese police station in Manhattan that's targeting Chinese dissidents or maybe targeting American citizens. Absolute insanity.
Secret police station. U.S. officials said that the accused's main job was to help track down and harass dissidents from China. As per the officials, they also admitted to the FBI that they had destroyed evidence of their communication with the Chinese official.
Okay, so these people acting at the behest of the Chinese government are, I guess, kind of cooperating with the FBI. And unfortunately, we are at a point where obviously you cannot trust two guys operating for the Chinese government or the completely corrupt FBI. It kind of reminds me of back at the beginning of Rona when you had de Blasio facing off with the teachers union, and they're both just completely corrupt. It's a race to the bottom, and there's nobody to step in and clean this up or fix it. It's completely gone, right? At this point, we're just waiting for the entire city to float off into the Atlantic Ocean because there's no fixing it.
Unlike typical officers, the MPS officers who have been charged today are not focused on preventing crime. Rather, the complaints charge these MPS officers with engaging in transnational repression schemes targeting members of the Chinese diaspora community.
Yeah, see, this guy can't be trusted, right? I mean, we got to the point where these, three-letter agencies are completely corrupted. They're they're arms of the political regime that wants nothing more than to squash regular Americans, and now they're pretending they're going to protect us from these, weirdo people acting at the behest of the Chinese government. But neither one of them can be trusted. So what do you do?
Community in New York City and elsewhere in the United States. And as shown in these complaints, the MPS has repeatedly and flagrantly violated our nation's sovereignty, including by opening and operating a police station in the middle of New York City.
And this FBI guy wants to talk about sovereignty. Give me a break. In New York City, you have no sovereignty. You are the property of the far mafia and the political regime. So give me a break with this sovereignty stuff.
Now, reacting on this, David Newman, the U.S. Principal Deputy Assistant Attorney General for National Security, said that the efforts of the People's Republic of China's government to export authoritarian methods to stifle free expression in the United States
authoritarian methods to stifle free expression in the United States. Interesting. That sounds kind of familiar.
Is a threat to American democracy.
And another little catchphrase there, it's a threat to American democracy. So I guess what's happening is, like they typically do, they will project exactly what they're doing onto somebody else. Now, I'm not going to sit here and go to bat for these Chinese government officials, but it's pretty clear that they are doing the exact same thing that they are accusing them of doing, right? I mean, authoritarian methods to stifle free expression. I recall that very vividly when I was protesting the lockdown in Lower Manhattan, okay? And then you want to talk about threat to democracy. That is a catchphrase buzzword from up on high, from the, Hillary Clinton's of the world, telling you that this is the catchphrase we're rolling with. And he did not disappoint in this particular situation. So that first guy looks, none of these FBI guys can be trusted as far as you can throw them, right? I mean, you could talk about, does anybody remember James Comey? Right? I'll get a little bit off track here, but that guy was stumbling around, wrote a whole book, not James Comey, I'm sorry. Scratch that. Robert Mueller. James Comey is completely corrupt too. Different story. And I'm confusing my corrupt FBI agents at this particular point in time. But Robert Mueller, right? We're gonna get Trump. He doesn't even know what he's talking about. So when those are the people at the top, and now these are their little proteges, they're all completely untrustworthy at their very best.
On Monday, prosecutors also unveiled another set of charges against 34 Chinese officials. They are accused of operating a troll farm and harassing dissidents online.
And for the record, these guys, these Chinese officials, these Chinese nationals, or whatever it is, operating for the Chinese government, they are probably completely in the wrong. But it's been so diluted by a corrupt establishment that they're basically the same, right? So a whole bunch of corrupt FBI agents saying that these guys need to be arrested because they're doing crimes. It's like, well, so are you, right? I mean, it's just they are basically the exact same at this point, and it's actually really sad because there should be a difference between Chinese nationals operating a secret police station and the American FBI that's supposed to be protecting Americans. But we've come so far
by disrupting meetings on U.S. technology platforms. But what exactly is a troll farm? A troll farm is an organized group of individuals on the internet trolling people with the aim to disrupt an online community.
A troll farm. Okay, yeah. So we're told over and over and over and over again that it's always Russia. Of course, they drop that like a hot potato and then switch to Ukraine and try to get Donald Trump on that. And now Ukraine is, of course, the epitome of all that is right with the world, and we must do all we can to help them. But we're constantly told that Russia, they interfered. They're always the troll farms, while they turn a blind eye to the Chinese troll farms that are doing the exact same thing, right? And we don't even know if Russia is doing, maybe some Russian guys bought Facebook ads, who knows? But it's pretty clear that they have a soft spot for China. That's why they call him Beijing Biden.
Troll farms conduct disinformation propaganda campaigns by creating fake social media profiles and targeting a particular community. Now, all the 34 accused of creating this troll farm are absconding. As per the charges, the troll farm had created thousands of fake social media accounts to target Chinese dissidents through online harassment and threats.
These kind of behaviors should not be tolerated. It's about our sovereignty. It's about our way of life. It's about our freedom. In America, people should not be fearful of speaking their mind.
In America, people should not be fearful of speaking their mind. Well, that ship sailed, okay? I always bring up the example of those women on the Whatever podcast who will tell you that I know what a woman is, but I'm too afraid to say it because I will become a target of the mob. Not in those exact words, but that freedom of speech, that's gone. That ship sailed.
Whether it be the critical views of our own government or...
And I mean, right? I mean, we saw Elon, I guess, is doing a little bit better, but you couldn't say certain things on Twitter. You couldn't say the word Bruce at one point. I think, like, you know what I mean? It's like the freedom of speech. Yeah, I get it. Oh, freedom of speech doesn't mean freedom from consequences, but it got so bastardized, it got so mutilated that I mean, you weren't allowed to say anything that just didn't go along with every single one of their wacky agendas or schemes or narratives. And we're not talking about stuff that's that far-fetched. It's like, some people, maybe I had a little questions about the election. Maybe I don't really think that a man can become, very basic stuff, right? I mean, you can drive all around the United States, which I literally did, and you see very little, you see a tiny amount of support for the current president. And you see giant Trump billboards all over the place, and you have to ask yourself, same thing in Arizona, Kerry Lake, FJB, LGB stuff all over the place. But somehow Katie Hobbs, who told you she wasn't going to debate, gets the victory. And when you question any of that, you are immediately shunned. You could be easily taken off the entire internet. And this guy wants to pretend, just like the other guy did, oh, well, it's about sovereignty, it's about freedom of speech. That's gone. Even on YouTube, it's gone.
Any foreign government for that matter. The abrasiveness
and I should say, especially on YouTube, not even on YouTube. I'm sorry to Susan, or whoever that new Susan replacement is. I'll do better.
Their willingness to take that kind of actions on American soil is bone-chilling.
Now, for more on this, our correspondent Susan Tehrani has sent us this report. Listen in.
The FBI revealed on Monday what it says is expanding espionage and security activity on the part of China on U.S. soil. The Justice Department announced 3 cases, one case involving Chinese security officials harassing and spying on Chinese nationals via Zoom. Also another case involving, once again, Chinese security officials who set up what is called a quote-unquote police station here in the heart of New York City's Chinatown, in an office in that glass building behind me, once again to intimidate and harass Chinese nationals here in New York City and elsewhere. That office building has since been closed after a search warrant was executed last fall. The men, however, appeared in a Brooklyn courtroom on Monday afternoon. And finally, a case involving 34 members of a Chinese specialized unit, the unit run by China's National Police or Public Security Ministry, accused of creating fake social media accounts, once again to harass and intimidate Chinese dissidents and also spread Chinese propaganda. Susan.
Okay. Yeah, so she's just rehashing the same story from on the ground, I suppose. But this is absolutely crazy. I don't know what to make of it. I don't know how you stop this. You can't trust the FBI. This is like a real-life Spider-Man meme where they're just pointing at each other. Oh, you're corrupt, you're corrupt, you're corrupt. And they're all completely corrupt, so there's no winners. And clearly, the people of New York are going to continue to lose because they are under the thumb of this political regime. Eric Adams is out there telling you that you should, not eat meat and not eat dairy because it's going to help the environment. Meanwhile, he's got a secret Chinese police station in his own city that I'm sure he doesn't even know about. So, thank you for watching. Please like, comment, share, and of course, subscribe.